Hello gorgeous, this is Melanie here and I am back with some Chalk Couture. So what I wanted to do today is I was going to do the Home Sweet Haunted Home and I realized it's very large. I kept thinking it was going to go on a surface that was about this size, but instead it's going on a larger one, which I haven't cleaned off yet. So I'm going to jump out of line, out of sequence of the ones we have voted on the group. And I'm going to do this one because for some reason, ever since I saw this before I even signed up, this was one that really spoke to me. And as you can read it, it says, we may not have it all together, but together we have it all. And that's kind of sums up my life. So I'm going to do this transfer and I hope you love it. So I'm going to write on the back, of course, so I know which side is the back. And let's get this transfer placed. We're going to fuzz it first. Take off a little bit of that stickiness. I'm not sure how it's going to work on this surface. I got this surface at Michael's as a set of 6. It is in their chalkboard section. It is designed for weddings and table settings and things like that. It does have a chalkboard surface. I'm not sure how removable this is, so I'm going to assume it is not removable until I test it. What I plan to do is put this on one side and then maybe a holiday thing on the other so that I have something that's year round, but then on the other side I can flip it and have a holiday decor on the same piece, because it's pretty on both sides. So even if you wanted to hang it this way, it's very pretty that way too. I like being able to see these knots up here, and I know that's probably weird because this is the back, but I just particularly, I like that look. So that's what I'm doing. Now the tricky part is going to be placing this because this transfer is larger than my surface. I will have to measure probably and let you know what the size of this chalkboard background is. So I'm kind of lining it up from the bottom. Okay, let's make sure it's nice and smooth. Now I'm not going so far up because I might add some flowers up here or something as a decor item, just something pretty to make this whole piece pop. So that's kind of the plan. Well, I'm going to use bright white, Eucalyptus, and Couture teal. Okay, now after looking at my color palette, I am not sure how these are going to work together. They're different tones of teal. So I am debating on making this a 2-color thing. I love this color. I mean, maybe we should just do it. And if I don't like it, I can flip it over on the other side and just use the other side. But I'm not really sure how these are going to look together. But you know what? I guess we'll just do it. We'll just do it. And here is where I'm going to speed up the video and talk you through it. So I'm adding the bright white to the top sections, and I'm just going to do, we have it all, and then in white, and the little dotted lines, that's all going to be in the bright white. And for those of you who have never seen the application in real time, I do have some videos where I'm applying it in slower motion so that you can see exactly the technique. Basically, you're going to put it on and then you're just going to take a squeegee and squeegee off excess and put it back in the jar. So that is all I'm doing. So I'm going to peel that part back just so that chalk doesn't dry in my transfer and come off the background. And I didn't heat set that this time because when I laid that transfer back down, I did not press it down and none of the chalk is in the openings. So it should be okay for now. Now I'm going to take that eucalyptus and I'm going to put it on the word together to emphasize that word. And I'm just going to squeegee off the excess. I'm going to pull that part back, and here is where I will heat set it. I just want to be sure that none of this transfers back into, or none of the chalk gets back into my transfer. So heat setting it, I'm trying to keep that heat tool moving over the surface. You can see when the chalk dries because it'll go from looking wet to looking very matte. And you don't want to apply a lot of heat. I don't want the transfer getting heated. All right, so I'm going to go back to my white, put a little bit over that section right there, and smooth it out. You'll see I take like little small strokes. Your method doesn't matter as long as you get it completely covered and then you get all the excess off. That is all that matters. And then just make sure you're saving your excess by putting it back in the jar. Now, I had fuzzed my transfer in the beginning, if you remember, but it did stick to the surface a little bit, so I kind of had to pull my transfer down, which made me nervous because I don't want to stretch my transfer out. I want it to be able to be reused for multiple uses. So I was being really careful when I pulled it down, and my surface was moving a little bit, but all in all, it turned out fine. So here I'm applying the Couture teal, which is a really bright teal. I wasn't sure how these colors were going to look together in the beginning, but once I was done and I hung it up for my family, they seemed to really love it. So I guess I will leave it as is. So I'm just going to really hold my surface down and pull this transfer off as carefully as possible without stretching it. I laid it face down in my water, and then I closed up my paste and allowed this to dry. So there it is, you guys. I think it turned out beautiful. Now I will go back and add some ribbon or some flowers. Oh, right there, I was using a wet Q-tip to take off a little tiny drop of chalk that I got on there, and it did come off really easily. So I'm not sure once it's cured whether it will come off. You know, I can wipe it clean, but it looks like it might work that way. All right, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you as always for watching. Be sure to subscribe, like, share, and join the VIP group on Facebook.